Hey, Nick.
Hello.
Hey, Kranthi. Nick, I'll start with you. Thank you for being a design partner on this initiative. You have the unenviable job of managing the coding infrastructure for perhaps one of the most demanding software engineering teams in the world. Tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, thank you for having me. At Anthropic, we're seeing development accelerate to the point that a lot of tools that people take for granted, like source control, really can't keep up with the load. So the same thing you were describing. We put out a blog post about a week ago that showed that we had an 8 times increase in the amount of developer output since a year ago. And I really don't see why this is slowing down. So what are we running into? It's a good question. We're running into 2 major categories of problems. The first are sort of traditional big repo problems. So things like getting your CI, getting your checkouts into your CI jobs, or even just supporting a large commit rate. We see that a lot of people have these problems, but people don't necessarily talk about them. And it's kind of a shame that everyone has to reinvent the wheel here. We think this should just work out of the box. The second category of problem that we're seeing is kind of unique to agents. We want to run a lot of checkouts, a lot of developers, basically, that need the full repo context. So not just like CI jobs, not a single commit, but the history, the blame, the logs. And this is an even bigger problem than just checking out code for CI. Git doesn't really handle this very well. So dealing with partial checkouts of the repo, dealing with slices of context, Git does not support very well. So we imagine that there's new ways of agents interacting with the repo, maybe via rich source control APIs to solve this problem at a bigger scale.
Yep. And this is not just a problem that is an Anthropic problem. I think all of you, as you scale your coding efforts, your development efforts in the agentic era, these are problems that either you're already running into or will be running into very soon.
Yeah.
Now, Kranthi, you've been tackling this problem now. I gather you have something to show us.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. The challenges that Manu spoke about are precisely the ones that we have been set out to solve in the new architecture. Let me demonstrate that with a harness that lets us compare our current generation system with our next generation system side by side. On your left, what you'd see is a cluster that is running our current generation system, which is Community Edition 18.0. On your right side, you'd see a cluster that is running the next generation. And both of them are provisioned with the same amount of memory and CPU resources. For the first scenario, let me touch upon one of the common problems that we have right now, which is doing clones at scale. As you see here, the next generation system is going to get to the act of doing the clone pretty fast, while the current generation system feels a little sluggish. When a clone happens on the server side, the server has to compute a pack file from all the files in your repo and all of its history. And if your repo has a lot of files and a lot of history, it's going to take seconds, in some cases even minutes, to get to that pack file. The next generation system is efficient at doing that because it's going to convert that into a manifest pointer towards a pre-computed pack file. And if one pack file does not exist prior, and your server is getting 1,000 requests at the time, instead of doing this per request, it's going to coalesce the request and compute the pack file once, and let the clients stream the output from the object store directly, and the clients can scale because the object store behind the scenes is very, very scalable. As you can see on the right side, the next generation system is already done. It has finished 100 clone operations within a second on a modest-sized repo of our own Gitly. Now, this is going to take a little while on the current generation. So let me show you a run from the previous, a prior run to show the statistics. As you can see in this case, it's 42 times faster on raw wall clock time. That means your agents and your clients can wait 42 times lesser. Not only that, it consumes way less CPU and memory on your server side. That means if you were to run this on your premises, it's going to be very cost effective in addition to being very, very fast.
Amazing.
So now let's look at a write scenario. Let's see how the writes perform at scale. Again, what I kicked off here is a comparison of performing 100 write operations on both the clusters. And behind the scenes, it has to create a fork, read a file, make some changes, and commit the change. And for good measure, it'll go and even verify that the commit is successful and stuff like that. Now, as you can see here again, it is pretty stupendously fast on the right side because creation of a workspace in the next generation is super quick. It does this with a clever use of manifests and pointers on a shared pool of objects across all the forks in your repository. And effectively managing that when people are creating forks on like smaller repos, massive repos, it doesn't really scale with the size of the repo anymore. It just like lets you get to the fork and start working on it right away. Now we have looked at both reads at scale and writes at scale. Let me show you an agentic use case as well. But before that, let me show how the writes would perform on wall clock time. The current generation is going to take a little while, so let me show a prior run for you to get a quick understanding. In this particular case, it finished both 100 tasks, but it's 17 times faster. That means, again, your agents and your clients can get it, doing the actual work much faster and not be slowed down by the underlying source control system. For the third scenario, I'm going to let loose Claude on performing a task. And the task is this. The task is to go and look at some undocumented code files in Git repo and then go and create the documentation and check it in. As you can see here, the next generation system is chugging along super fast. It's just like going after reading the files, like understanding it, incorporating what has to be documented, and it is also going and checking it in. And the current generation system looks a little sluggish, but it's going to get there. This is going to take a little, the next generation system already finished it within a wall clock time of 30 seconds. And mind you, this 30 seconds is being measured from the client side. That means it has the agent inference time, getting the data all over the wire, all of it, right? On the server side, the stats are even more fabulous, right? The current generation is going to take a little while. Let me show you a prior run just to kind of give you a taste of how it looks like. On the wall clock time, you are getting a massive benefit as it is. It is 22 times faster. It is moving much lesser data on the network because it doesn't need to. But I would like to bring your attention to a couple more interesting stats here. Look at how few tokens it has used. On the right side, our current next generation system ended up using just 500,000 tokens to perform this task. And with our current generation, it ended up using 1.4 million tokens to get to the same outcome. That is like almost 3 times cheaper. And it is going to translate to lesser cost for your agents to do your thing. And behind the scenes, what's happening is the full architectural advantage is coming to fruition. The new access patterns that we created are going to enable the agents to really interact with the code base in more effective ways to get to the act of doing the task much faster. Now, how do we do all of this?
You want to see the slide?
Yes, I would love to kind of show you the architecture slide. All right. With the next generation architecture, we got in 3 important advancements in the architecture. Number 1, we are letting the compute and storage be separated and allow them to scale horizontally on their own. Number 2, we put a layer of intelligence in between that can bring together the benefits of this distributed compute and storage together and does a lot of hard work behind the scenes, like routing the request to the right place, caching what is important, partitioning your objects as your repo size grows, creating pack files, updating bitmaps. A lot of heavy lifting is done by that intelligence layer. And the third, rather more important advancement that we are bringing in is we are allowing the clients and agents to interact with the source code system using newer access patterns.
Great,
How does it look
amazing,
like?
amazing. So Nick, you've obviously seen this work in progress over the last several weeks and months. What's your take? Does this scratch the itch?
Yeah, I was actually, truthfully speaking, I was very impressed when I first saw the demo for this. It sort of worked better than I even imagined it would. We've been playing with stuff like this at Anthropic as well, and I think it's going to be increasingly important to actually scale how these agents work. We're also pretty excited that we now have Fable available in the Duo agent platform, so we expect this to be even more impactful for these large models.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Nick. Really appreciate the partnership.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Kranthi. Nice work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here we go.